Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing good. Today, I just wanted to offer a bit of advice to my sisters and my brothers, but predominantly my sisters today about wanting to live in the diaspora. So, there's a lot of us that seek opportunities from our home African countries, wanting to come and further education, start a life, set up a business, just come for greener pastures, in search of greener pastures in the diaspora. And there's nothing wrong with that aim, goal, objective. And if you can do it legitimately, it's actually good that you do that because it changes your whole demeanor, your whole outlook of life, your whole philosophy of life, and exposes you to other ways of doing things, more effective, more forward thinking, more progressive ways of doing things. And I am always an advocate for those sorts of embarking on those kinds of goals and aims and wanting to achieve that. However, whilst all of that is good, I also want to caution that especially my sisters do not end up putting ourselves in vulnerable positions where we are taken advantage of. And the reason why I say that is that I have heard too many stories of people who embarked on journeys to go to one Western country only to arrive there, and because they're not appropriately and correctly documented, some of our brothers who have positioned themselves or put out or portrayed themselves as the ones that can give you those documents that you want, are taking advantage of women and committing all kinds of atrocities that are not fair. The temptation is great to think that the hustle in your home country is so bad. You can't make it in this life unless you move to the West. And I'm here to debunk that because that's not entirely true. Moving to the West comes with its own challenges. And if you leave your home country under this assertion that as soon as you come to a Western country that all your problems suddenly disappear, you've got another thing coming. I am not by cautioning anyone saying don't do it. I'm just saying that if you're wanting to travel to a Western country, make sure that you fully understand what the requirements are and get a legitimate documentation that brings you to the Western country. If you think that you can cut corners, you put yourself in vulnerable places. I've seen a lot of people come with a visa to visit a Western country. At the end of the day, you meet this bloke who tells you that they can help you. And all that they're actually seeking from you is to commit all kinds of atrocities against you. From making you work menial jobs, get monies under the table, and them sponging off you. I've actually seen people who, because they're not documented, have accounts open in other people's names. And the people whose accounts you're using are taking monies from you, from the hard work that you have done, charging you as much as 50% of your wages because they have this unfair advantage over you and using that as a weapon to ruin your life. A few days ago, I got a story of a young woman who came to a Western country and became stranded. And because this man who is married took her in, the wife, in agreement with the wife, took this woman in to help her position herself or, get back on her feet before she finds her own place and moves out. This man will wake up in the middle of the night, leave his matrimonial bed, and come seeking intimate pleasures and favors from this woman. And if she doesn't do it, she's going to be thrown out on the streets. If you know how cold some Western countries can be, minus 35 degrees and counting, the thought of you having to sleep outside is not an option. And so this woman is talking about how she uses petroleum jelly, Vaseline, to do all kinds of things to pleasure this man because she is not prepared to sleep with a married man. But that is just as bad as that. To me, that is what she's doing. I've also seen and heard about stories of women who arrived in a country because they have family in that country. They've spoken to the family members and they're in agreement to host them and everything. And instead of the family members telling the person coming back from back home the truth, that, you know what, I can't house you because I don't have the space for you. It is not convenient. I can't afford an extra mouth. Whatever it happens to be, they say yes. You buy a ticket, board your flight, arrive in the country, and suddenly the person whose contact details you have has suddenly disappeared. You call that number and the service cannot be reached any longer. I've seen, and I actually know people that have gone through this situation. And then they come to the airport and they're stranded. They can't even go back because they don't have the money to buy the return tickets to go back home. And so they're in the airport going back and forth. Then they meet somebody who looks like them or speaks a language like theirs. And it's 9 times out of 10, it's a guy. And they take the woman in and promise you the world. Before you know it, he's sleeping with you anyway, anytime, anyhow he wants. There are women who have been taken both anally and otherwise just because of documents that they don't have. Men use that in the Western countries as an unfair advantage to sleep with women willy-nilly. My darling, some people may not care because you don't have no moral compass, or you feel that it's your Gucci. So if you want to give your Gucci to somebody to get favors, who am I to say anything about that? But at the end of the day, it is those of us who are so vulnerable, who don't really understand the full ramifications of actions that we take, that end up in vulnerable situations and are surprised at the things that are happening. We women are so vulnerable. We are so vulnerable. Easy for people to take advantage of you and you become prey. How many women haven't we seen who have been taken to Arabian countries or Arabic speaking countries with the promise of a legitimate job, a job that you haven't seen? You haven't seen no proof, but you're taking whoever is promising you a better life abroad's word for it, only to get to the country and find that all this nanny job or whatever job that you were promised is actually to be caged as an animal and for barbaric things to be done to you. For all these rich Arabic men who have all kinds of crazy sexual fantasies to have their pound of flesh simply because they think that they have an advantage over you. Sometimes when things seem too good to be true, and your conscience is telling you there's something that is off, believe it, because a lot of the time it really truly is so good to be true, too good to be true. So many people are in marriages of convenience, not because of anything, but because of being documented and being able to have the legitimacy to be able to live and work in the countries that they've chosen to go and live it. And a lot of it has everything to do with just wanting to seek greener pastures and be able to look after your family. There is nothing wrong with wanting a better life. Nothing wrong with that at all. But being accurately and correctly documented is the right way to do it. Don't let anybody come to your home country and deceive you and say things to you that you yourself, on thinking deeply about it, doesn't make any sense to you. Don't ever think that, oh, this man is such a good, kind-hearted man. Oh, he's really, truly going to help me. Because a lot of the time, that is not the case. A lot of the time, you are just easy prey that is going to be taken advantage of and utilized. My sisters, I love us so much. Enough of the heartbreaking, heart-wrenching stories that I hear about these sorts of things happening. And all the people that I have spoken to and all the narratives and examples that I have given today are from people who have given me all the permission to use my platform as a mouthpiece to advise the sisters. You are better off going through appropriate channels. Don't think that you're being wise or clever by cutting no corners. Don't let anybody deceive you into thinking that they're able to do anything for you. They are not the immigration of that country. They are not. They are not. Don't allow your orifices to be taken advantage of and all kinds of barbaric things that I don't even want to think about happen to you. Contract all kinds of venereal diseases just because you want a better life for yourself. It is not an appropriate price to pay. The favor of the Lord can touch you, can get you anywhere. It doesn't have no limits. I'm not saying don't have the desire for a better life, but do it in a legitimate manner so that you're not found wanting. I love you so much, and I want to see people succeed and thrive. I want to see my sisters in positions of authority and position that they are not taken advantage of. A word to the wise, they say, is enough. I love you so much. Mwah. Bye.